Kind of switching gears from like the academic side, I wanted to ask, how did it feel to be a first generation college student, just in your family?
Yeah, I think it was, a bit of a point of pride and a bit of a point of pressure, right? Because you really feel like you carry the expectations of your family on your back to some degree, and you feel like you got to get this right, right? You got to make good on this opportunity. So I think, college for many of us can be a blur. Right? It's 4 years, maybe five, maybe 6 years. It goes by really quickly, right? So for me, the pressure really started to mount or to feel like something real a little bit beyond college and like when I was in grad school, right? Jumping straight in. If I didn't have a roadmap for undergrad, I definitely didn't have a roadmap for grad school, especially a PhD, right? So um, it was tough not only to figure out my place and how I'm going to make this work. It was also tough to try to relate to family what I was getting myself into, right? Because people hear grad school, they just think more school. So if you're going to be a student for what, 7 more years, right? And so I think that was really difficult to say, like, well, it's not really like I'm a student, right? Like I haven't taken classes in a while now, right? I'm like working kind of independently towards this big project, this dissertation. And there's a sense while I am kind of continuing to put these years into school, people in my peer group, back home that I went to college with, or people, from the home church, they're getting married and having kids and buying houses, right? And getting those promotions. And it's like, well, how's that been? Well, he's still in school, So that was definitely a challenge because I wanted to be reassuring to people. I'm okay, right? And I'm on a path to something big. But I really couldn't provide that reassurance because I didn't have that reassurance myself, right? Because I didn't know how this would pan out. And I was feeling myself a lot of doubt about whether I'd made the right choice, whether I kind of belonged, not just in the program, but kind of on this path to the academy. So I think that's what I really felt, that kind of pressure. But I know a lot of first gen folks even feel that in college, right? Especially if you feel a sense of responsibility
Mhm.
to be a financial resource, right, for your family. Um, you're balancing work and school, as so many folks are, and if you're feeling that pressure to go into an industry sooner rather than later that you can generate some financial stability with, as opposed to taking a track that could ultimately lead to something that's both financially stable and satisfying, but it might take you a longer time, right? It might lead you towards kind of a major choice or a grad career or post college more schooling that your family's like, really more of this, right? So I really resonate with that challenge, but it's something that you kind of have to constantly negotiate, but you've also got to be really mindful to balance your responsibility to the people you love and your responsibility to yourself, right? To do
Mhm.
something that you think has real impact. There's a way, I think, it's not always easy, it's not always clear, but I think there's a way to um, reassure your family without completely compromising, right? The core things that you want to do with your life.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I agree. Um, I have similar experiences as my family too. It's like, I feel a lot of pressure, a lot of us are creating something like starting with us. So it is a lot of pressure. I think some of us forget sometimes like we are doing enough, like we're already like headed towards the right direction. So thank you so much for sharing.